Hi everyone, I'm really glad that you could join me for our English lesson today. Let's get started. Okay, so before I start, make sure that you have a pencil and a piece of lined paper ready, and make sure that you've listened to our story on our channel, which I'm sure you all have by now. Okay, so our objective today is, can I use adjectives to describe the setting? It's a long one, isn't it? Can I use adjectives to describe the setting? Now, the setting in the story is where the story is set. So the story is set at the beginning at Jack's house, but the setting I want us to describe is when he gets up, he climbs all the way up to the top of the beanstalk. Can you remember what the setting was at the top of the beanstalk? Can you tell me? That's right, it was a castle in the clouds, wasn't it, where the giant lived? And that's the part I want us to focus on describing today. So let's have a think. What is an adjective? Can you tell me? Fantastic, that's right. An adjective is a describing word. Let's have a quick look at my sentence here. I'm going to read it to you, and I want you to see if you can spot the adjective. Are you ready? And there, at the top, he found a giant castle with a giantess in front of it. Jack gulped, then his tummy rumbled. So let's have a look at the top bit again. And there, at the top, he found a giant castle with a giantess in front of it. Can you tell me which word is used by the author to describe the castle? Can you tell me? That's right, it's giant, which we know that means really big. So let's giant castle. Meaning it was really huge compared to Jack. Okay, now I'm going to show you some photos of some castles, and I want you to have a think about how you might describe them. If you want to pause the video at any time, you can do, to write down some notes of how you would describe the castles. So let's have a look at the first one. So have a think. How might you describe the setting? Sorry, not just the castle, so the setting, the surroundings. So I've put, do you want to hear what I've put? I can see the sun setting brightly over the clouds. I put it has really tall turrets, because if we have a look here, can you see the really tall turret there? All the way up. So I put tall turrets, and then at the top of the turrets, can you see the roofs? And I've put there like cones, because you know, like an ice cream cone, they're a bit cone shaped, aren't they? Cone shaped roofs. And they're blue as well, so I could put blue cone-shaped roofs. And then here I've thought, wow, how pretty is that window down there? So I put stained glass window rather than just putting window. Let's have a look at my next picture. So here I've put, I wanted to describe the setting. So I put, can you see the forest that surrounds it? I put not just forest, I put leafy green forest and white fluffy clouds like cotton candy. Can you see? They're really fluffy and they look a little bit like cotton candy. And then here, to describe this one, I've put a long winding staircase. Can you see that huge staircase that goes all the way up to the castle with the people on it? A long winding staircase. And then our last one, I put an ancient wooden door, because when Jack reaches the top of the beanstalk, he sees a door, doesn't he, with a giantess. So I put an ancient wooden door. And ancient means when something's very old. Okay, so what I want you to do now, you've thought of lots of ideas, is I want you to draw a picture of the setting. So it might be the huge castle in the clouds, and think carefully about all of those details, like the wooden door, maybe little arrow slits, maybe a stained glass window. And then I want you to use some interesting adjectives to describe it. And then I want you to put some of those adjectives, if you can, to create a description, okay? So let's have a look at mine. So here I've got my castle, and this is Windsor Castle, and I've put my adjectives to describe those different things. So I've put ancient here, I put wooden door, so I've used the word wooden, the adjective wooden, to describe it. Fluffy clouds, so I've used the adjective fluffy to describe it. Stone castle, so I've used the word stone to give it a bit more information, to make it sound a bit more interesting. And then here I've put tall turrets instead of just turrets. And then here I've used some of these adjectives to create a description. When Jack reached the top of the tall beanstalk, he saw a huge, ancient castle surrounded by white, fluffy clouds. So can you see I've used lots of adjectives there to help me create a description of the castle of when Jack gets to the top of the beanstalk. So I want you to see if you can write a description with some adjectives. What do you need to do when you are writing? You need to check that it makes sense. When you read it back and you listen to it, check that it makes sense. Check that you've used capital letters at the beginning of your sentences only, and for names like Jack, and that you've used a full stop at the end and finger spaces. Okay, so if you think you can't do a description or you struggle to draw a picture and label it, you can stay on now because we're going to hold a sentence together. Is that okay? But if you think you can have a go at doing those things, creating a description and drawing your pictures with your adjectives, then go and do that now. Okay, you don't need to come back. But if you think that's a little bit tricky, you can stay on and we're going to hold a sentence together. Okay, let's hold a sentence together. So my sentence is, there was a big door. There was a big door. There was a big door. So let's have a look. So I'm going to do it first, and then I want you to pause the video, and then you have a go by yourself, and then we'll come back and mark it together. Is that okay? So let's have a look. So we've got there. There. So I'm going to start my sentence with a capital letter. There. Now this is a tricky red word. We can't sound it out. We just need to know how to spell it. I'm actually going to go and correct that and make that a little bit neater. There was finger space. Now see if you can get was correct. You've got w, a, and a s. We can't sound that one out either. That's a tricky red word. So let's read it together. There was a big, big, b-i-g, big. There was a big. There was a big door. D-o. Sorry. There was a big door. D-o, and it's got 3 letters there that make the or sound at the end. There was a big door. What do I need at the end of my sentence? Can you tell me? That's right. I need a full stop. There was a big door. Right. Have a go yourselves now and then come back and we're going to do it together. So pause me. Have a go. Let's have a look. There. Capital T. There was, and if you've spelt was correctly, I'd like you to give it a big tick. There was a big, and if you've got the sounds in big, b-i-g, give it 3 ticks. There was a big door. Now, if you spelt door, d, and you've got that or sound, give it a tick as well, and tick for your full stop. Let's see if you can do that. Pause me if you need to. Go and do that now and then come back. In fact, come back. What am I? Going crazy. Okay, fantastic, year one. Don't forget to post all of your fantastic work on Tapestry for myself and your teachers to see. See you later, year one. Bye.